What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Crew 2. And well, as you all know, it is Wednesday, which means a new summit is now live here on the game, which ironically enough is also going to be the name of this summit. What's kind of insane, guys, we only have one more week up until the Season 9 update. I really do feel like time is flying, but nonetheless, though, in Platinum, we have the purple Earthbreaker tire, which looks absolutely crazy. Probably seeing that on a monster truck is going to look insane, but in gold we have the legendary half set boosted for the street class, and I would say a Fame Magnet set is always going to be a great thing to have, especially trying to grind followers and or money. Actually having pure on there is also not a bad thing, but for me personally I would rather have bucks on there just to make as much money as possible. And then moving over to the last summit, guys, until the next season here on the Crew 2 is going to be the Open Days, bringing us a chance to get the Porsche Carrera GT Green Flash Edition. Now, I would definitely recommend going after these cars because, for one, obviously Motorfest is coming up fast here, so every single vehicle you guys do own, you can actually transfer them over to Motorfest, which is awesome. So I would recommend going after these Summit vehicles, even the Ferrari Berlinetta and or the KTM 450 Rally. If you guys are new to the Crew 2, I would still jump on and at least go for gold. That way you don't have to buy those cars on Motorfest. I really do like the fact that you can actually transfer your vehicles over, but looking at this summit though, guys, it's also going to be one of the most interesting summits we've seen in a pretty long time. Every single event is going to be vehicle force, which means the game basically gives you a car. It's going to be base level and or base settings, so I really can't wait to see how this summit is going to pan out. It's probably going to be pretty intense. I would probably say some people are most likely going to slipstream, but luckily if you guys are solo, none of the cars are going to have an advantage. And if you are new to the game, this can also be a great opportunity as well to go after this car. The only thing though is if you guys are low leveled, you will have issues with like the Speedtrap and or the Escape, and also the low altitude if you are lacking some score breaker and or a nitrochemist set for the Speedtrap. So that is something to keep in mind, but I'm happy to see a forced vehicle summit. I really can't wait to do that one, but my goodness, guys, Season 9 is right around the corner. But moving over to the summit here now, guys, starting off with the speed trap. So for this one, I once again use the Corvette Stingray. That's most likely not going to be insanely shocking, considering this is like the best drag car to use. Do keep in mind, guys, once again, you can only do like 414 miles per hour or so, because that is going to be the top speed with the Stingray you can actually reach solo. Anything past that, you guys will have to have at least one other person with you. But moving over to the next one is going to be an Escape, and for this, I would highly recommend using an Alpha GP vehicle only because of the way they do handle. I really do feel like it's going to make it much easier, especially on this Escape. There is going to be a lot of turns and or a lot of annoying traffic as well, so having something that can grip is going to be your best bet. That way, if you do have to dodge the AI, at least you're going to have a better chance to do so. And do keep in mind, guys, the new Alpha GP cars do also do well over 300. I did find that to be pretty dang useful, especially on that straightaway. But moving over to the last skill though is going to be a Slalom, and for this it is going to be in the water, so you can use something like the 1414 Demon or something like the Vector V40R, which for me is by far going to be my favorite boat to use. No, or something like the Vector V40R, which for me is by far going to be my favorite boat, at least for these slaloms. I really do love the way this boat handles, so I would recommend trying this thing out. But if you guys do like using the 1414 Demon, that boat can also do this pretty easily. But moving over to the first event though is going to be an air race, which we honestly do not see a lot of these. And for this, you guys can basically use any of the planes of your choice. But for me though, I really do love the way the Zivko Edge does handle, not only on the aerobatic skills, but also on many of these air races as well. So I would try this thing out. Luckily, guys, the biggest thing about this is you will want to hit every objective. That's going to get you around 23 seconds off of that initial time, so it really is going to be insanely helpful to do so. You can also run something like the Harman Rocket 3 as well, but I really do think the Zivko is by far going to be the best option. And now moving over to the next event, guys, is going to be a monster truck stunt event. And for this one, I was actually going to jump in again and really try to get a better score, but to be honest, I decided to keep the 51,000 points because I did not want to jump back into this one, even though this is probably going to be a pretty fun event for the most part. And the biggest thing is obviously trying to jump as much as you can and or flip, and you will also try to be pretty dang good on that half pipe like it is Skate 3. But to be honest, I really don't think you have to go too insane with this one. To be honest, guys, I could easily do better, but I really do not see a point of trying to go crazy on this one. I do know a lot of players don't like these events, but moving over to the next one though is going to be a drift event. So for this, I actually decided to run something completely different. I am actually running the Crown Victoria Limousine, which is definitely not going to be the best vehicle to use on this one, guys. So if you are trying to get a high score, you basically want to use anything else, at least if you are trying to go for that 157k, but I managed to get 155.9, so I'm pretty dang close, and considering the Crown Victoria is not going to be the best vehicle for this, a limo's very wonky, and to my surprise, this thing was honestly incredible. But besides that, guys, moving over to the next event is going to be a street race. And surprisingly enough, the BMW i8 is really not going to be an insanely bad car. Originally, I thought the i8 wasn't all that great, but I would say the biggest issue with this car is probably going to be its acceleration. It's definitely not the fastest thing out there, but the overall handling is honestly pretty dang impressive. And then moving over to the next event, guys, is going to be a Rallycross Stunt event where you have to use the Ice Hunter. This is by far going to be a pretty odd vehicle for this, and this is also going to be another event similar to the Monster Truck where I just did not want to jump back into it. I honestly did not see a point, and 41,000 was pretty decent, so I would say if you guys can get over 100k on this one, you're honestly doing pretty good. This vehicle is definitely not going to be made for this event, but one big tip I can give you guys is try to lower that grip on the tires a little bit. At least you can drift and get an extra like 1,000 points or so here and there. I really do think that's going to help tremendously. But moving over to the last event, you guys will have to use an Alpha GP vehicle in one of these stunt races as well. This is by far going to be a pretty odd event once again, but luckily it's not going to be too insanely difficult because obviously the Alpha GP cars are fast, and if you guys were to lower the tire grip once again, you can probably drift a bit more. But the biggest thing I was noticing though is going insanely fast and jumping as much as you can. That definitely seemed to get you a pretty high score overall, but this is definitely going to be a pretty interesting summit because I do know a lot of players are most likely not going to be the biggest fan of these stunt races. I would like to know your thoughts in the comments below. And by the way, guys, I'm also planning on going over all of the old DLCs to basically see if they really should come back as like a future DLC in Motorfest. So definitely stay tuned for those videos in the future. I'm also going to be going over the DLC with those lovely stunt events as well. But overall, guys, if you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more insight.